Hi there, it's Tom Morgan here with your weekly update for this week. And this week, the kind of big event, the big thing that took place was Enterprise Connect, the annual meetup in the UC space. So it's not a purely Microsoft thing. In fact, Microsoft is just one of many different vendors and suppliers that come to Enterprise Connect. But there's always an announcement. Microsoft have a keynote there where they use that time and space to announce to businesses what their plans are for unified communications in the year ahead. Um, I didn't do a kind of a write-up blog post this year. That there wasn't anything particularly that was solely developer focused. So instead, I would refer you to two excellent write-ups from Matt Landis and Tom Arbuthnot. And I'll put both of those links in the show notes. But the kind of takeaways, the kind of big headline news are things like the auto attendant and call queues are now generally available on Cloud PBX. They've been in preview for a little while. They're interesting because they're a good example of the things that can be built on top of Office 365 and on top of Skype for Business Online. It's a good developer story because even though it might be that the APIs aren't all completely there for anyone who wanted to build, for instance, their own auto attendant or their own call queue solution, in theory, the technology is there because we see Microsoft building things like auto attendant and call queues out. So we can kind of infer from that that the API support is hopefully coming, if not, imminent. So that's good news. That's exciting. The new product in the Skype for Business online world, a new dashboard for 365 admins to give information about poor quality calls, call issues, problems with your headset or the network or whatever. And a lot of this stuff has come from the acquisition of some IP that Microsoft acquired from Event Zero last year, I think it was. So it's great to see that now coming into something people can use. That's great. No word yet on an API, but I will keep asking around. That would be a great thing to be able to hook into. So we'll kind of keep our eyes peeled for that. And there's a number of other announcements around hardware. Lots of vendors getting their devices out to kind of coincide with Enterprise Connect. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, have a look at Matt's post, have a look at Tom's post. Some stuff going on there. So what's coming up next? So registrations for Microsoft Ignite are now opened. Microsoft Ignite it's a great event. It's probably Microsoft's biggest kind of tech event, I suppose, in bringing everyone together, getting everyone in the same place to talk about where the future of their big kind of big technologies, big products, the Office line, unified communications, what the developer story looks like, and everything like that. So it's I've been lucky to be able to go the last couple of years, and it's been a great experience. So that's coming up soon. So registration is open. There are apparently more than 700 sessions planned. So yeah, you're not going to be able to get to all of them, but luckily they're often almost all of them are recorded and available after the event. They've done really well in the last couple of years in reducing the amount of time that it goes to go from end of session to the recording being available. In fact, last year it was kind of within 24 to 48 hours. You could miss a session but catch up on it the next day, and that was huge. It was especially beneficial for the flight home, where you could really catch up on all the sessions you wanted to go to, but you were double or triple booked. So that's great. That's interesting. This year it's going to be in Orlando, so east side of the United States, I believe, in Florida area. So that should be good. So yes, if you're interested in going to that, I would register now because registrations do run out, and they run out relatively quickly. So yeah, so that's that. In other news, so Microsoft have launched another AI chatbot. So this is the third, I think, big chatbot that they've released into the public. Obviously, we all remember Tay, the kind of the sweary, rude bot, and then there was Zoe, and then now there's Ruuh, Ruuh. So I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that, but it's being released into the Indian markets in English only. And Microsoft are kind of tight-lipped about why they do this stuff. I think we can infer that it's the bot isn't supposed to be fulfilling any particular aim. I don't think externally, publicly facing it. It's not like it solves crimes or attempts to answer questions about what's on TV. I don't think it has a purpose, if you like. But there's obviously huge value to Microsoft in those interactions with real people, and so I think that's why they do this stuff. I think that's why they put these bots out there, is because it allows them to get some really good data about how people interact with bots, how people think, and it helps Microsoft address some of those really tricky problems, for instance, around context and contextual conversations, and how to recognize the difference between two things I said that are completely unrelated and two things I said that are very related, and I would expect a bot to pick up that the thing I said second was related to the thing I said first, and that's a really hard problem to solve. And you don't see that solved today with things like Siri and Alexa, and those kind of devices. It's very kind of one shot, say something, and then I've completely forgotten what you said. We do see, so Cortana does have some of that in there, but I think making really natural language solutions is going to require that to get an awful lot better. So I wonder if that's what Microsoft are doing. I have no way of knowing, but it's certainly interesting to keep an eye on. This is not just me being biased. I've taken another look at some of the cognitive services stuff over the past week. I was at a really good event on Tuesday, actually, held by Microsoft at one of their campuses, and lots of cognitive services, lots of AI, lots of playing with some of the new APIs and stuff. And there's some really cool stuff out there, surprisingly accessible, surprisingly easy to get into and get working with. So I might try dabbling with some of those things in the next kind of couple of months, as and when time allows. But yeah, some cool stuff going on in the cognitive space, and I think Microsoft are pretty far out in front for, if you want my opinion, pretty far out in front on some of this cognitive services stuff. So definitely one to keep an eye on. And I've said before how I think Microsoft want to, they don't want to miss the boat this time. I think they've been guilty previously of missing several boats in the last 20 or 30 years, but they don't want to miss this one, and it kind of shows, I think. So definitely want to keep an eye on. All right, so there's a really good podcast on the Office 365 Developer Podcast series. So it is episode 124, and it is about getting started with Office 365 development. So this is really good if you haven't really dabbled in Office 365, your development history has been on-premise, it's sort of traditional kind of offline kind of things, and you don't know anything about the new world of Office 365 development, but maybe someone's told you, maybe your boss has told you, you need to, maybe you've just started a new project that is going to be 365, or you want to, start a new product and you're looking to go 365 first, or you're just curious and you just want to understand the differences. This is a great podcast. To be honest, the whole 365 developer podcast is brilliant, but this is a good episode to jump straight into and get up to speed and kind of get to grips with why and how 365 development is slightly different to more traditional types of development. And then finally, there's a new episode of The Future of Work. So this is Modern Workplace. So I don't know if you know, but there's a series of short programs that Microsoft put out called Modern Workplace, and this one's called The Future of Work: Build, Attract, Connect, and it's airing on the 11th of April 2017 at 8 a.m. Pacific time, which is 4 p.m. UK time. So 5 p.m. Europe, and it's going to apparently talk about how your organization can adopt cutting-edge methods to better communicate, collaborate, and stay ahead of the curve in the future of work. So I'm bringing it to your attention nearly 11 days early, or just over 11 days early, so that you can register for it, because you need to register if you want to watch it. So that should be interesting. I think they're going to talk about Microsoft Teams. I don't know if they're going to talk about Skype for Business as well. But it should be interesting anyway. It should be interesting to see, because I think we are fast approaching the crunch point where the technology is not the limiting factor, where the technology can do the things that we think need to be done as technologists, but the business world lags behind, and it's the business and it's the psychology of business and how people think, how people work together, how they think they should work together, how they do work together. All that kind of stuff needs some change if we're going to maximize some of these technical tools. And that may be to say that not all the technical tools that we have today are the right ones, because just because something is technically possible, it does not mean that it necessarily is the right answer and is the right thing to do. So that's why I thought this would be an important and interesting thing to keep an eye on, because it will be interesting to see how businesses think about communication, the things that they find important as well. So that's pretty much everything for this week. It feels like a really quick week. It feels, I don't really know where the time's gone. It's been, it's been busy. So next week, I know I talked about this last week. I'm going to mention it again just in case you missed it. So this Thursday, coming up, so that will be Thursday I want to say the 9th. No, the 6th, Thursday the 6th of April, is the Skype for Business European User Group Meetup, the first inaugural European meetup. 5 speakers, 5 different countries, all talking about a different Skype for Business topic, with local audiences in each of those locations, and then Skype broadcast meeting tying it all together. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. We had a catch-up meeting earlier today, trying to work through the hows and whys and how-tos for how, getting all this, the Skype for Business meeting together with the regular meeting, together with the presentation that the local attendees are going to see, making sure everything works, making sure everybody gets a great experience. So really excited that it's happening in London. I will be talking with Ben Lee. We are going to be talking about Skype for Business and Skype for Business development. There are a number of other speakers. Like I say, there's five locations. They're all MVPs. They're all excellent speakers, so you will want to hear all of them. If you are in London, I would massively encourage you to show up in person. It would be brilliant. It would be great to see how many people we can get to attend. The website to register is events.ucuser.group/London. If you are in Europe and you are near one of the other locations, then it would be great to go and register there. You should already know where to find the information about your your particular and local user group. If you don't, then you have some options for finding that out. You can probably the best thing to do is just to contact me directly on Twitter and I can point you in the right direction. If not, have a look at my blog because there's a blog post where I talk about it. If not, take to Twitter and ask around and somebody will point you in the right direction, I'm sure. Okay, so that's everything for this week. All that remains is for me to wish you a very happy and pleasant weekend with whatever you're doing. And those of you that I'm seeing next week, please come and say hello. I look forward to it. And everybody else, have a great week next week.